selection. Help you find the best words for you. Always better gonna use your mind. Just to realize the helps you find. Help you find the best words for you. Always
Yes, all words matter, and it does not matter how they're being delivered. And that brings me to this episode of All Words Matter podcast with Auntie Bev. All words do matter, and today's guest shares those words in a rather unique way on TikTok. And I found him when he was questioning the word pasiloquent, wanting to know why was there such a word as pasiloquent in the dictionary. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the All Words Matter podcast comedian Darcy Dunham Jr. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. First, let me say something. I love your intro music. It is amazing.
Oh yeah, well
I
I can connect you if you need to be connected.
I need to. That's a hit. You need to put that on the radio.
Well, the thing of it is that he replaced Gerald Levert when Gerald died as a part of
Ah,
Levert. Do you know are you old enough to know who Levert is?
yeah. I got some family members who taught me. I know about Levert.
Yeah,
I know
okay,
about it.
all right. I don't
Yeah.
even want to go down that road because so many people, I keep forgetting that a lot of the people I deal with are millennials and younger. And when I'm talking about music or things that happened in the past, they're looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm thinking, well, you're crazy because you don't know. But anyway, all right, that's enough of that.
Good thing. I love music and I love the history of music. So I might know a little bit more than your average millennial. Just want to put that out there.
Okay, well, very good. Okay, so if you've been following my murdering of the hits on but this isn't about me, okay? This is all about you today. So, welcome, first of all. Why don't
Thank
you
you.
start off by just telling our viewers more about you and where you are, and just a little bit about your background.
Okay, no problem. Well, my name is Darcy, aka Life with Darcy, on all social media platforms. I'm a stand-up comedian from Detroit, Michigan, born and bred in Detroit. So basically, I started out this comedy career, in 2018, and I say because it's loose. It wasn't like a for sure this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I actually started out because I got fired from my first adult job. So, like they say, when one door closes, another door opens up. So that's how that came about. Go ahead.
Did you know, like when you were little, that you might be a comedian? Because teachers always say, you're always clowning in the classroom. You're always doing this. You need to be quiet. Did you did you have anybody ever say that to you?
When you said you need to be quiet, that hit me right here in the heart. Yes, I've heard that every day of my life. But great thing is, like, even though they said I need to be quiet, they were laughing as they were saying it. So I wasn't ever disruptive or taken away from the class. I was trying to add on to it. But my entire life, I have done nothing but make jokes, try to make light of situations. So that's how I handle and process everything. So yes, I've heard that all my life.
What platform did you choose to introduce your comedy material? Now, I only know you from TikTok. Is
Mhm.
that where you started, or did you go somewhere else first and then just branch out?
I started on YouTube actually. So the day I got fired from my first adult job, that weekend, I was like, I'm making my first YouTube video of how this happened because I was set up, I was framed. So I made an entire story about that, and after that, it's been focusing on telling my life and see if I can give somebody some type of education from that. Like, if you can learn something from me, I did my job. So I started off with YouTube, branched off into Instagram, started seeing that people didn't want the long stories anymore. They wanted the quick reactions. So I gave them reactions. And then I stumbled on TikTok and found the illustrious Auntie Bev. And that's where we at now.
Wow, that is amazing. And I did not know. Now I'll have to go to YouTube now and look for your videos because I was not aware of that. Well, you have such a unique spin on your TikTok videos because what I normally see is somebody else doing something which is normally crazy, and then you respond. And it's your
Yes.
response that just has me dying. Because I'm like, yeah, that would have been my response too, but I don't know if I could have done it. How did you figure that that was a good avenue for you to take? I mean, as far as like the reactionary comedian, as opposed to just, sitting there for 60 seconds and telling a bunch of jokes or whatever.
It's honestly, I say it by the grace of God because it just happened that way. I just saw something. I said, okay, somebody needs to say something about this. And nobody was saying anything. So I said, I'll do it. And I'm just happy that people think that the way I process things and view the world is hilarious. And then it came out just naturally. It was just something I naturally did. It wasn't something I actually planned on. And I saw that it stuck. And I said, okay, then let me keep this out. Let me keep doing this.
I saw a video where I believe you were in a comedy club somewhere
Yes, ma'am.
and you were talking about the DJ. I was like, I don't know where this is going, but okay. So, at what point did you feel comfortable enough to say, okay, I'm ready to take this on the road, so to speak? I'm ready to perform in front of live audiences.
Well, that actually came about November of last year. So I haven't even been a stand-up comedian for an entire year yet. But it came about in November. I reached out to one of my dad's friends. He's a comedic legend in Detroit. His name is Mike Larry. He had a stand-up comedy class. So I said, let me just take it. I took the class. We had our first, this is great timing. My fiance made this for me. It's a little plaque of my first ever comedy ticket. And,
Oh,
and everybody came and signed it. So we had our first show, and I was like hooked after that. Just telling my stories and seeing people react in live time. Because usually you just post on Instagram or TikTok and you hope that people like it and you just see it later on. But to be able to hit the joke and to see people laugh and cry, this is beautiful. So after that, I was stuck. I, I got to keep going on that stage.
is there anyone you try to emulate as far as style goes, or as far as raunchiness? Or but you're not really raunchy at all.
No,
It's
no.
but the videos you show are raunchy, but you're not raunchy. Is there anyone you try to emulate in that respect?
Yes, is one comedian named Ali Sadiq. His delivery is impeccable. He takes his time. He don't rush. He doesn't even let the crowd dictate his speed. He controls the entire show. So Ali Sadiq, Mike Larry, we talk about being clean because he was focused on clean comedy. So making sure that I have some material that my mom can listen to, my grandma, and make sure nobody can feel offended because it's going to be funny enough. But clean comedy like that. And then the last person has to be guy named To Hear More. His just off the cuff wittiness and be able to think on his feet. So those three people are the people I try to, mold myself around.
Do you really see this as a viable career for you, or is this just something you're doing to pass the time away until you get your next adult job?
See, that's a good question because that's where I'm in right now. I was always raised to say that you can't just stay on the fence. You have to pick either or. So as of right now, yeah, this is a viable career. It's something I want to build into because I thought it was something I could just pass my time with, but I ended up falling in love with it. And I was like, if I can get paid to make people happy, to just tell my life story, and then to see beautiful areas at the same time, to go out to Texas and different places like that, just to talk. Oh yeah, I want this. So yes, this is a viable career for me.
How important do you believe strong communication skills are in performing? And the reason I let me preface this by saying that the research says that the average person really doesn't have a vocabulary that's much beyond 8th grade.
Mhm,
So, it wouldn't probably be in your best interest to get on a stage and just, speak all of these words that nobody's ever heard.
mhm.
However, being able to communicate effectively has to have some merit, or does it? Does it matter in comedy?
Oh, it matters in comedy. Words matter, especially in comedy. If you don't say the right word, you can throw off your entire set and the entire thing will not be funny. So every word in your word placement is important. So being able to communicate effectively, oh, if you can't do that, you can't be a comedian. And I truly believe you can't communicate effectively, you won't be great at anything because you have to still have that human to human interaction and tell your stories and tell your ideas. So words, let me see if I can give you a perfect example. So I had a set or a comedy or jokes about just myself, my weight, my longer hair since COVID, and people thinking that I am a lesbian at times. Funny people every time. Just the idea.
I gotta tell you about this video I saw, but go ahead.
So I have a set like that, right? And people don't know as a comedian, we just don't write the set and just go on stage and perform it. It takes a long time. You can do the same set for a year. So every time I go on stage, I take a mental note of what word is funny. I hear that people like a hard K sound. For some reason, hard Ks make people laugh more than any other sound that you may hear. So you have to put that type of things in. So it's like it's an actual strategy, and it's words are amazing. That's
I
the
was
best way I
going
can
to
put it.
ask you that about, do you prepare a script, or are you just an extemporaneous kind of comedian where you just kind of just off the cuff whatever's happening? Because I tried to do that. They had a comedy amateur night. This is many years ago. And I call myself, I had nothing prepared, but I call myself just, I'm going to be in this contest, right? And I was just telling jokes off the cuff, and people were laughing, and I was thinking, "Oh my God, maybe I am." But of course, I never pursued it. But it just kind of came to the top of my head. I was just talking about, menopause and, what that experience is like, et cetera, et cetera. And there were so many people who could identify with it in the audience. So that's why I wondered if you had a script that you followed, or if you were just an off the cuff, extemporaneous kind of guy.
Well, first, the off the cuff is as a skill. That if you can do that, like you are a dangerous person in this comedy world. So now I can actually do off the cuff material and just talk freely to the crowd. And but that happens usually after I've been on the stage for like at least a minute or two, so I can feel what the crowd is really interested in. And besides that, I'm going to my set, so I do a mixture of both. But once I become like a seasoned comic, oh, I'm gonna try that out. I'm gonna try to hit the stage and just tell them what's on my heart and see how that works. But I don't have confidence like that yet.
Well, I think I had one too many to drink. That's probably why I did it. So, but we won't
Nothing
tell
wrong with
anybody,
that.
right?
Between me and you, that's it.
So, I saw a video. I think it was just yesterday. It was recently, where a woman came on and she said she wanted to know how people with big boobs felt. So, something she said, right?
I
And
know
then
this
you
video.
popped up and you said, well, as a man with who falls into that category, it totally surprised me. And it had me dying. And I was like, okay, I'm good now. Because that's how my morning gets started a lot of times.
Oh
After I've done
man.
my meditation and I've, done all the things I need to do, I go and I look for your video, because then I know I'm going to get that laugh to start my day. So did you
Thank
do
you.
you just surf through videos to figure out which ones you might want to respond to? How does that process work?
Well, luckily I have a fan base now, so they send me content. But when you see content like that, that happens on the FYP of TikTok. It's just put it up there. So I have to take it down and try to hit that home run. But that video was hilarious. I was like, you know what? I know this about myself. I might as well make a joke about it before someone else can. So that's what I did.
And it was so funny. I mean, it did surprise me. I wasn't expecting that at all.
It's the honesty. You gotta be honest.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years? So you're in the millennial, or are you Gen Z?
I'm 28, so I'm a millennial.
You're still okay, you're on the young side of millennial. So where do you see yourself in 10 years, Darcy?
The plan is to have a life with Darcy conglomerate. I want to put multiple businesses together. I want to, right now, my fiance is working on her business. It's called With That Being Said. It's all about affirmation, mental health, for women of color. So I want to support that. I also want to keep doing this comedy thing. I want to have a Netflix special. I just anything that this world can give me, I just want to take it and make it happy for everybody.
Well, you just have to speak it out there into the universe and let it manifest
That's
itself.
right.
And it will ultimately do that. There is no question about that. I truly believe that. All right. You are so entertaining. Tell me, you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have a lot. I am the middle child of like 6, 7 kids. I might be leaving one out, but
Okay. And have they all seen your comedy?
yes, they all see my comedy. Some of them don't like it because they're in part of the set. But I tell them they just have to take it because if I ever become a celebrity, I know they're gonna want some of the money to come with it. So you gotta take this joke right now.
And what
We
about,
don't work together.
and what about your parents?
Oh, my dad, one of his proudest moments is when I graduated high school, college, and then when he came to my first comedy show. I've never seen that man smile so hard in his life because once like he was a funny guy and he wanted to do it, but he never had the courage. So now I'm doing it. It's like he's living through me. So that's important to me. And then my mom, she's a Jehovah's Witness. So I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness and a Baptist. Confusing. I know. I have an entire set about that alone. So I know. So when she came to my show and she was laughing, she enjoyed herself, said it was great. That meant so much to me because, as a Jehovah's Witness, when you talk about religion and things of that nature is really close to them. So being able to still find something that's funny, but not disrespectful, and she enjoyed it. Oh, that made me feel amazing.
All right. So, one final question here. What words of wisdom would you like to pass on to Generation Z or whatever the other letter is going to come after that? Because I really don't know at this point because I think they've run out of letters. But what words of wisdom would you like to share with young comics who will be coming up after you?
It's two things actually. One of them is do what makes you happy. Because once you start, I learned this the hard way. Once you start doing something that makes you happy, and you start looking at the business side and trying to grow this, and you start focusing too much on what you can get out of it, not what you can put into it, it takes the fun out of it, and then you start feeling like you're working again. So do what's making you happy, have fun in doing it, and then secondly, never take no for an answer, because when one door closes, another door open. So do it, have fun, show love, and don't take no for an answer, and keep going.
Wow. Well, that is the absolute perfect way to end this segment of All Words Matter because, as Darcy has said, do not allow the door to close on you. As a matter of fact, if the door starts to close, just kick it down or just
That's
let the
it.
door close and move on to the next door.
Build
Like, let's
another
make a
door.
deal. I know you don't know that show either, but
I
okay.
do. I do. I love it.
Okay, very good. All right, guys. Well, listen, this has been an absolutely wonderful interview with Darcy Dunham Jr. If you are on TikTok, please follow him. Life with Darcy. Is it Darcy too?
Yes, Life with Darcy with the number 2 behind it.
And if
Someone
you are
took it.
on YouTube, check out his videos there. As I said, he gives me I don't drink coffee in the morning. He gives me that perk that I need to get my day started. All right, guys, that's going to do it. So remember, until next time, it's your time, your shine. And remember, all words really do matter.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, Auntie Bev's giving you an opportunity to make some cash and build your vocabulary.